to the Esports World Cup.
On June 12th, it was announced that Warzone and Modern Warfare 3 were the last two games joining the Esports World Cup in Saudi Arabia, and it extended the COD season by a whole month, as COD Champs just wrapped up about 2 weeks ago, and now we're roughly 2 weeks away from these 16 teams matching up against each other to play for a $1.8 million prize pool. I mean, the last place team gets $20K just for showing up, so that's pretty nice, and I'm assuming this is going to be the last time that the pro players touch Modern Warfare 3 after this tournament. As I was looking and researching for this video, I noticed that this tournament format is a little bit different from the Call of Duty League, so I want to go over the changes, take a look at the teams, and predict the winner for this $1.8 million tournament. So they actually have a countdown on their website with 16 different teams attending, 11 teams from the Call of Duty League. Los Angeles Guerrillas doesn't want any part of this. I think they're trying to get out of the COD League, so it gave some Challengers players the chance to play. So on top of the 11 CDL teams, we have 5 Challengers teams. Team Falcons is coming from the Middle East North Africa region, and Gentlemates is a French team owned by Gotaga. But before we get into all of the teams, let's take a look at the format for the tournament. So a few days ago, the groups were revealed with 4 teams in 4 groups, and it was based off of how COD Champs played out. So as you can see in the group draw, CDL Champions Optic would be in Group A, the runner-up, 3rd, 4th, and then you have the Challengers teams in each group. And so this group stage is going to be the first 2 days of the tournament, 15th and the 16th, and each group will compete in a 4-team double elimination bracket, with only the top 2 teams advancing to the final stage, and the final 2 days will be a single bracket 8-team tournament. And so here's a look at how the bracket is going to play out. The teams from Group A and B will play each other in the first round, and then C and D will play each other in the first round. But on the 17th, it's going to be the first day, so the 4 quarterfinals matches, and then on the final day of the tournament, August 18th, it will be the semifinals and the grand finals of the tournament, and we will see who comes out on top. Now, the maps and the modes are staying the same as they were in the CDL season, but there are a few different rules that the players will have to abide by, and it may or may not be really bad. So I want to tweet by CDL Intel. It says, per the Esports World Cup rulebook, all participants must at all times observe the highest standards of personal integrity and good sportsmanship. They are required to behave in a professional and sportsmanlike manner in their interactions with other participants, teams, etc. And participants shall not use obscene or offensive gestures or profanity in their tags, player handles, team branding, game chat, yada yada yada. This might not be good, bro. Call of Duty is an esport that's notorious for trash talk. Some of it goes above and beyond. Like, sometimes I'll watch these clips and I'm just mind blown, just absolutely speechless at some of the things these guys come up with, and it's honestly pretty impressive. I'm curious to see how strict these rules are going to be at this tournament. I've seen a lot of people saying to watch out for Scrap, watch out for Kremp. This is the guy that you guys need to watch out for.
You are nothing without Scrap. You got
At every event I've seen, this dude is a menace. He just goes off on everyone. And now imagine him playing against Scrap on main stage. I mean, things could just pop off at any moment. You never know what's going to happen. It's going to be interesting to say the least. So that's how the tournament's going to play out. But here's who's going to be playing in it. So there are a couple of different team names, which just brings me so much joy. For one, it's no longer Optic Texas. We see Optic Gaming. And instead of Los Angeles Thieves, we got 100 Thieves. Cloud9 is actually NYSL. And a lot of these teams stayed the same, but there were a few roster changes right after COD Champs. But the top 4 teams stayed the same, as well as 100 Thieves, Miami Heretics, and Seattle Surge. But the team that experienced a squad wipe was Boston Breach. They've kept Snoopy on, which they've double and tripled down on Snoopy, and they've brought on some more talent to see if they can make things happen. Players that were originally on Omit Brooklyn, another team that's playing in the tournament. So now Boston Breach is Snoopy, Awakening, Purge, and Cammy. I don't think this team is terrible, but I don't think that they're going to be able to compete with the top teams in the tournament. I've been calling for Sensor to get on the roster since like Major 2 or something like that. Maybe we can have him in as a sub, I don't know. But that's Boston Breach. They made the most roster changes from Roster Mania. Not sure what their future is going to look like. But Minnesota Rocker ended up dropping Standy and Gunless after the season. And like I said, Los Angeles Guerrillas is not fielding a roster for the Esports World Cup. But thankfully, some of the players were able to get onto a roster. So Minnesota Rocker is playing for G2 Esports, and the new roster is Accurate Tier C, Diamond Con, Lens, and Estriel. I really like the Lens and Estriel duo. I'm not sure how to feel about the AR duo. Diamond Con has definitely had some bright spots this year, but it really just comes down to if the team can be consistent, and that's something that we really haven't seen this year. They're gonna have a pretty difficult time making it through the bracket. And the final two CDL teams in the tournament, one being Carolina Royal Ravens. They dropped my boy Clayster, man, so we'll see if he can get on a roster going into next season, or else he'll probably end up retiring and going onto the desk, which he's pretty good at, to be honest. But as sad as it is to see Clay go, I am really happy with who the Carolina Royal Ravens picked up. They got my boy Beans, and I think Beans is a great player. I'm not really sure why Boston Breach dropped him. He was the best player on their team, and I feel like this team's going to be underrated going into this tournament. They've already started scrimming along with some of the other teams, and I'm sure it'll take some time to figure out how they play together, but it's definitely a team to look out for. And another team to look out for is the Las Vegas Legion. Now, Johnny was on their team during Major 4, but he's had some personal issues going on and had to step away from the team. So Vegas picked up Fame, who was also on LAG, and now their new roster is Nero, Attached, Geo, and Fame. There's been a lot of criticism as to why they picked up Fame. I think the only problem with picking up Fame was that he's inconsistent. Like, he could be a really solid player when he's playing well, but if he falls off a couple maps, it could go really downhill. So it's gonna come down to which of these CDL teams really show up and want to win. I mean, that $600,000 price tag is life-changing money, so I feel like these teams gotta be locked in, especially the Challengers teams. So there's 5 Challengers teams in this tournament, and one of them is from the Middle East, North Africa qualifiers. And so first we have the Challengers champs, Lore Gaming. Lore has had a lot of success this year. They won Major 2 at Miami, and they won the CDL Challengers champs. And there's some familiar faces on this roster. We got Arcides, Paulex, Yuli, and Churil, and I know they're excited to be back into the pro scene, especially Arcides. He had a rough stint with Seattle at the beginning of this season and was eventually dropped off of the team, but now he has his chance to get vengeance against his former team. So we'll see if he can make things happen, but we definitely shouldn't count them out. And we also shouldn't count out FaZe Black, which is coming in as FaZe Clan Stallions. And that team is Brack, Dylan Rex, Exceed, and Asim, who have also been making waves in the challenger scene. Asim also managed to find his way back into a pro tournament. He was bouncing around the league like crazy this year. He was on like 3 different teams. And then we have Omit Brooklyn, which is Prolu, Fire, Glow Frosty, and Spart. They placed second at CDL champs, losing 3-4 against Lore, but found a lot of success throughout this challenger season. And players like Prolu and Spart have been in the COD League before, so I'm sure they're looking to make a statement, along with Gentle Mates, which was initially Team Bance, but then Gotaga, a former Call of Duty pro who now owns this esports roster, is fielding rosters in other games, but picked up Team Bance for the Modern Warfare 3 tournament. And so on this team, we have Harry, Cobra, Denza, and Bance, players who have been around the league, and I'm sure you're familiar with some of their names, especially Bance, who has been in the challenger scene grinding it out this year. And the final team in the tournament is Team Falcons, which is a team that made it through the MENA qualifiers. And I don't know too much about this team, but I do know that they were a respected team in the challenger scene, and I've seen their names before, especially this guy, because I'm pretty sure, hold on, I guess this dude used to donate to people and ask them to 1v1. He did this with Scump, did this with Simp, and some other people, but I mean, this dude's matching up against, you know, some of the best COD players in the world, so he somehow made it through into this tournament, and now we'll see if they can continue their dominance in one of the hardest challenges yet. And that is all 16 teams competing at the Esports World Cup. Now, looking at the groups, I would have to say Group D is probably the most difficult, but it's Call of Duty. Anything could happen on any given day, so it's going to be exciting to see who comes out and shows up on August 15th. FaZe is coming off of a pretty rough defeat at COD Champs, and the team is facing some serious adversity right now. A lot of people saying they're going to end up breaking up and going their separate ways to see if they should stick it out through the offseason and on to next year. There's also been a lot of roster changes since Champs. Placer's been removed, Johnny stepped away, Standy and Gunless were removed, Boston Breach had a 3-man roster change. There's a lot of chances for players to prove themselves for next season. It can mean a lot for these players going forward. And then probably the biggest question of them all is, can Optic win another championship at the Esports World Cup? They just came off of a historic victory at COD Champs, and we'll see if they could go back to back and prove that they are the best team in the world. So finally, here are my predictions for the tournament. Coming out of Group A, I got Optic and Vegas Legion. In Group B, I got Cloud9 and Seattle Surge. Group C, I got Toronto versus the Stallions. And then in Group D, I got FaZe and 100 Thieves. And to be honest, I think Cloud9 is going to bounce back from their second place at COD Champs and take a dub on this one. Their team just looks really solid, and it seemed like things were clicking towards the end of the season. But let me know your predictions down below. And I'm grateful that it's happening because it extended the COD season by an entire month. But let's hope the players can, you know, uphold sportsmanship and hopefully not get thrown out of the tournament. So we'll see what happens. But if you guys enjoyed this video, check out my 3-day recap of COD Champs. I reviewed each day of the tournament, going through every series. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That would mean the world to me. And I hope that you guys have a great week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, peace.